Hi, everyone. This is author Agnes Verona Oquendo. Today, I am just going to um, support a few of my colleagues, author colleagues, and I want to give the reviews I've written about these books. So, this is reviews of actual books that I have. And then my next one, I believe I'll be doing reviews of books that I've read through the Kindle. So, these I've read. Um, First, I will talk about Bonds, which is by John A. Curley. Very good book. A friend of mine and colleague, I have met John. He is a detective working out of New York, and his books are a lot about uh, his field that he works in. One thing I want to say is I actually enjoy reading an actual book. I know some people prefer Kindle. Um, I like the Kindle, but I actually prefer a book. So I was very excited to read this book. So John Curley, I wrote in March 15th, 2019 was my review that I wrote on um, Goodreads and Amazon. I read Bonds by John A. Curley in less than 2 days because I couldn't put the book down. It kept my interest alive and seeking more suspense and drama from the very beginning until the absolute ending. So, as I said, John writes, his main character is someone who kind of reminds me of John. Um, So his main character I actually loved. I don't like to give anything away because I want you to read it firsthand. And I did read this book in 2 days. It was absolutely amazing. So, John Curley. Another book that I read this book in 2018. I gave it a review October 1st, 2018. The Fervent Exchange by Christopher Felton. It's a novella, so you can see it's small. There's about 50 pages. It was very good, The Fervent Exchange. What I wrote is I truly enjoyed reading a civil debate of adverse opinions, beliefs, and teachings from such well versed and educated opponents. It hits home to everything I was taught growing up and many unanswered questions I craved as a child. Um, I was really impressed with the the content in the book. It is I don't usually discuss two things: religion and politics. This book is about religion, but I found it very, very interesting. There were two main characters, and they had two opposite beliefs, and it was interesting um, to hear the exchange. They were aboard a plane, and they were talking. They were seated next to each other, and they were speaking about their religious beliefs, which were completely opposite. So it was very interesting. If you like reading a quick, short book, it's a novella, very good. Jim Hart, my friend Jim Hart, wrote this book of poems. It is called A Handful of Smoke. Uh, I actually love this book of poems. I do like poetry. And I wrote April 4th, 2019 is when I reviewed that book. So I actually read A Handful of Smoke by Jim Hart twice. I was quite moved during my first experience, and I wanted to reread and relive what I felt. The words flow as if in song, and it reminded me of my home as a child. I found myself heartbroken and in tears a few times as I read and explored each verse over and over as if it were my first time. I found a multitude of emotions stirring from each poem as they relate to real life circumstances. A truly great book of poetry. So thank you, Jim. I really enjoyed reading this. And I tell you the truth, I wrote that I read it twice. I actually read it more than twice. I read it at least 4 times because I enjoyed it so much. Um, so now I am going to, I already did this review, but it's an actual book, so I wanted to do it again. Down the Lane by Paul Lafferty. I never met Paul, and we met through Facebook as authors, and I really enjoyed Paul's book. So, Down the Lane by Paul Lafferty is probably a thrill seeker's dream, all wrapped up neatly inside of one book. As a reader, I traveled along the dangerous, exciting, and unfamiliar path inside of Niagara Falls, Canada, with Doc, or Ian, his main character. The author expertly describes each event with such detail that summoned all of my senses as I read: touch, sight, hearing, and even smell at one point. I was and felt completely immersed inside the author's realm of dark twists and turns with Doc and his entire cast of cohorts and characters. Thank you to the author for your thrilling story that leaves me anxiously waiting for your second book. Down the Lane, excellent book. Okay, so Jason Hill, I actually did not read this book yet, but what I did read, he has, when I first met Jason, he had 6 books of Social Hill series. I think he has more now. So what I did read is his book called American Hill. And on February 25th, 2020, I wrote American Hill, a novel, is book 3 of author Jason Hill's Social Hill series. It's truly a raw, gritty, down-to-earth novel. As I read through each chapter, my curiosity grew with anticipation for the next. The uphill social plight of war veterans' sons, brothers, and children are clearly depicted within the very well-told walls of this highly recommended novel. I look forward to reading more from this author. Jason Hill, I'm looking forward to reading this one, actually. As I said, I read American Hill, which was excellent. So I'm looking forward to read Social Hill, which is his first one. Phyllis Amadori, Phyllis Barone Amadori. Her book is Never Ruled by Man. Now, Phyllis is also a nurse. I've known Phyllis since we were very, very young. We were children. We grew up in the same neighborhood. So I was really excited to read her book. Reading Never Ruled by Man by Phyllis Barone Amadori has brought back many fond memories of growing up in the Stapleton area as a child. Although her main character, Mary Ann Bascom, lived a great many years before my time, I can feel that connection with her through the words of the author. She describes in many detail Mary Ann's wit, strength, and accomplishments that were rare for women during her era. As the reader wholeheartedly fell in love with her character, and learning the history of Staten Island was icing on the cake for me. I truly love this book. It's about a very strong woman who really lived. She was related to Phyllis. And Phyllis did a lot of research to write that book. And I'm looking forward. I understand she's writing another book. So thank you, Phyllis. I loved it. So I also have another book that I purchased. It is Haven't We Met Before by Cesar Marsilio. I am looking for his review. I know it's here. But anyway, when I purchased this book, I was really surprised. It's not what I expected. And here it is. So I did review this book June 20th, 2019. So I'll just show you what the inside looks like. So Cesar is not only a writer, he's also an illustrator, which is awesome. So what I wrote was, I was excited to receive Haven't We Met Before by Cesar Marsilio a few months ago. I immediately found the cover very intriguing. I must admit that when I originally opened up the book, it was not what I had anticipated. So I put it away for a rainy day. I soon felt ready to revisit this book with the intriguing cover, and I'm happy that I did. I actually find the illustrations throughout the entire book to be extremely exceptional. Cesar is truly an amazing illustrator. What I absolutely love about this book is that it has a unique flair to the book in the manner that it is written. The storyline is futuristic, sci-fi, dramatic but humorous with an adult flavor that rounds it up to be a fascinating read. I am looking for more from Cesar. He is an excellent illustrator. And as I said, the storyline, it is funny, it is dramatic, it has a little bit of everything. People who are illustrators, I think, would love this book because of all the illustrations that are inside. So that wraps it up for my review of the actual books I have. As I said, I will do another one for the reviews that I have on Kindle. I want to support my author colleagues. So again, Cesar Marsilio, great book. Phyllis Barone Amadori, Never Ruled by Man. Jason Hill, very good writer. Paul Lafferty, Down the Lane, excellent book. Jim Hart, he not only does poetry, he does a lot of writing. Very, very good. Very hits your heart. Fervent Exchange by Christopher Felton. Excellent book. I know he had to do a lot of research on this book as well. And of course, Bonds by John Curley. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to the next one. Bye.